Dexter Morgan, you know you're not supposed to be hanging out with people like you. Because when you hang out with people like you start doing too much. Anyway, this was a wild episode. Anxiety through the roof. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Asia Esterak Hour, where film meets conspiracy and pop culture gets a reality check. From sharp recaps to sci-fi theories and media deep dives, Asia Esterak serves it unfiltered. Let the binge begin.
All right, welcome back to the Asia Esterak Hour. I'm Asia Esterak. Okay, Dexter Resurrection, episode 4. So we open with this fool dressed up like Ronald Schmidt, the dark passenger, the dude that he took out killing all the U drivers. So he's reading the invitation because he's getting ready to go to this party. And of course, his dad's ghost, Harry, is in there. Harry's like, this is a party for serial killers. You should not be going to this. Dexter, you already know. We already know how you act a whole fool when you get around people who are just like you. Because the problem is you get around people like you who don't live by a code the way that you do. And then you end up complicating the shit. You got to take them out. We've seen it every season with you. Anyway, so this season is going to be even more interesting because now you're in a club of serial killers. Anyway, so he follows the invitation directions. He goes to Central Park. And a car picks him up. Uma Thurman's driving it. I love her character because we don't really know that much about her yet. So he goes to get the car and get to sit in the seat behind her. And she's like, I know how you get down, dark passenger. You can get in the front with me. That was hilarious. So they get in the car. They're driving to, because he doesn't know where they're going. And he's asking her questions and she's not really answering them. Uma giving... very vague answers. By the way, Uma Thurman's haircut is like short hair and long hair. I love it. Fabulous. Anyway, so they drive up to this beautiful house, big ass mansion. They get inside. It's very grand. They come into what I'm assuming is like this huge sitting room. There's this huge fire. Very typical, very ominous. It's, to me, all of it was a setup to meet the ultimate villain. So guess who gets out the chair in front of the fire and comes out to introduce himself? None other than the amazing, fabulous, outstanding, kind of attractive Mr. Peter Dinklage, y'all. So he comes out, shakes his hand. Hi, Ronald Schmidt, it's nice to meet you. I'm Leon Prater. Uma's like, he likes to be called Red. Red? Really? So basically, Leon Prater is this gazillionaire. We don't really know all that he does, but we know he works with important people in the city. He's on a lot of charity boards. He's a gazillionaire. It's giving Epstein, baby, Epstein. So he's talking to Dexter, aka Ronald, about how he found him, so he's talking to Dexter, Ronald, and he's basically telling him how he likes people like him. He's fascinated by them and he wants to get to know them and explore them. Basically talking about serial killers. So he brings him up to this like huge door to this room and Uma is behind them. She ends up walking away and Peter Dinklage is like, her name's Charlie, Uma Thurman's character. He's like, Charlie doesn't approve of this next part. So he opens this like 5-inch thick steel door. It opens up into this room. The first thing we see is a clown suit. My head, I was like, oh, that's John Wayne Gacy's clown suit. And of course, it was John Wayne Gacy's clown suit. So they end up walking into the room. Turns out this fool has tokens. He has memorabilia of different like famous serial killers. John Wayne Gacy, the clown suit. He had the car, one of the car seats from Ted Bundy's Volkswagen Bug. He had the Trinity Killer's hammer. So of course, Dexter's like flashbacking to that. Then he says he has the Ice Truck Killer's I don't don't know what that thing is called. It looked like a hospital gurney, but it's not, but it's all metal. He's like, I got this from Brian such and such. I can't remember Dexter's brother's last name, but he was like, this is from the ice truck killer when he killed himself. And he's like, maybe I can have one of your tokens to put in there. And at one point he does ask Dexter for the token, in which he gives it to him. So, you know, Dexter's still, he's weirded out by it. And of course, Harry is watching from afar, and Harry's just like, it's not good. Anyone that's a fan of the Dexter series know that when he meets somebody who's a killing ass son of a bitch like him, he ends up acting like them, doing too much, always goes over the edge, that ends up having to take out that person. This just seems times a million. So anyway, they're talking in there. Dexter is having, you know, he's obviously feeling some type of way seeing the Trinity Killer hammer, and of course the ice truck killer stuff. He's more blown away by how dude is able to find them and get a hold of them. It's very scary. And of course he doesn't reveal that. So they go out of the vault. Uma Thurman's character makes some little snarky comment, which was kind of funny. So Peter Dinklage is like, you know, I'm glad I showed you that. You know, thank you for the token, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I can't wait for you to meet the others. And of course, Dexter's like, others? And he's like, oh, yes. So this pretty woman walks in. I can't remember her name. Love this chick. She was on Breaking Bad. I probably should have looked up her name before I did the review. Anyway, she was Jesse Pinkman's girlfriend on Breaking Bad, the crazy, hooked on all types of stuff chick. She was in The Bee in Apartment 4B or whatever and she was in Jessica Jones. She's a good actress. She's great. So anyway, she's the first serial killer to come in. Her name is Lady Vengeance. Peter Dinklage, aka Leon Prater, reveals that she kills P-files. I'm not trying to get flagged. She hunts them down and kills them. And you later find out she had an experience, and that's why she does that. So of course, Dexter's like, ooh. And here's the other thing. It's so obvious that Dexter and this girl are gonna bang. I was like, of course he likes her. He sidled up to her ass so fast. So she seems cool. So then next, it's dude from Modern Family, the heavier set guy in the gay couple. He comes in. Oh, hey guys, very guy next door, soccer dad. And it was so funny. He was talking about his kids and his family. So Dexter, of course, is fascinated by this. He's like, this guy has a wife and kids. He's like, yeah, we're working on baby number 3 or whatever. We just had baby number 3. So you find out that this dude unalives girls and cuts off their hair. Apparently he was named the Rapunzel Killer. I'm not gonna lie, I fell out when I saw that, because they show his token in the big vault when Dexter's in there earlier, and he's thinking, who do the ponytails belong to? That guy. He kind of looked like John Wayne Gacy a little bit. So then Neil Patrick Harris comes in, who I thought was gonna get on my nerves this episode. He actually was really good. This show is really good. Let me tell you, Dexter Resurrection is bringing it every week. Excellent. Acting, editing, writing, directing, musical cue, the whole shebang. Fantastic. Anyway, so Neil Patrick Harris comes in. Hey guys, what's up? Oh, we got a newbie. You find out that he likes to unalive women with certain tattoos. He talks about how they touch him and how he's amazed by them. Very creepy. As he says, he's always looking for the perfect piece, and his tokens are the skin of the women obviously with the tattoo piece, which is also in the vault. Basically, everybody that's at that party, their token is in that vault, and now Dexter's is, or Ronald Schmidt's is. Anybody that's watching, is it me, or I got the vibe that Uma Thurman's character Charlie was not buying that Dexter was Ronald Schmidt? She just seems very observant. I don't know. So while the introductions are going on across town, Batista's ass is now in New York City. He's traced the truck that Harrison drove to New York City. And remember, Harrison sold that truck to his friend that works at the hotel. He's one of the valet guys. So Batista shows up at dude's apartment talking about, I'm the police. How did you get this car? Blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. Batista, you worked my nerve in this episode. You know why? Because your police work is too good and you're ruining it. No, Batista was great. So anyway, he was getting on my nerves. I was like, oh my God, shut up. You're really good at this. Stop. Isn't that bad? I'm rooting for the bad guy. Is Dexter a bad guy? I mean, technically, yes. Technically, yes. Okay. That's a whole other video. Anyway, so back at this dinner party, Dexter it's the most he smiled in a minute. He's just a giggling and chuckling because he's around people like him. And so they're all being open about the shit that they're into. So as they're talking, the last killer comes in who's late. I love this actor too. I got to fix my earring. I cannot remember this guy's name, but he's fabulous. He did that movie Late Night with the Devil, that really good movie. And he's playing M. Bison in the new Street Fighter. Anyway, so he comes in. They're like, this is the Gemini killer, such and such. And he's like, sorry, I was late. I couldn't get a Uber. And so they make a joke about Dexter, like, well, it couldn't have been this guy, you know. Really funny, very creepy. I'll say this. This whole sequence was great, but also really sick and creepy as hell. Because it's quite obvious that Peter Dinklage's character, Leon Prater, to me, he's the biggest villain out of all of them. The fact that, because he's asked at one point, you know, he's like, I'm not capable of doing this, but I'm fascinated by people that do. I think you might like it, because how could you be fascinated with people who are killers, have them in your home, keep their secrets safe? Because that's the other thing, your secret's safe with me. And my thing is, what's the catch? And at one point, Harry says that to Dexter while they're there, like, what's the catch? He says it before he goes to the party. He says it again while they're there. What's the catch? It's all very weird. So they all go to dinner. This had me rolling. So they're getting ready to go to dinner, and you know, we all know Dexter loves to eat. So in this scene, when he sits down to eat, because he sees a couple of prime rib, a couple lamb chops on the table, and you know that voiceover getting excited. This is when he finds out that Ronald Schmidt is vegan. He finds out that Ronald Schmidt is vegan. I fell out. They brought him some type of cauliflower. I can't speak. Cauliflower puree type of situation. That shit was it was hilarious. So anyway, right before they sit down to dinner though, what's his face from Modern Family? He goes, "Where's Keith?" So they flash back to this person who I'm assuming is Keith getting the dog shit beat out of him by this bat with nails sticking outward, right? Peter Dinklage goes, "Oh, Keith couldn't make it." Keith, basically, he's like, Keith, he violated the terms of the group. So the Canton Clubber, his bat will go into the collection, talking about the vault. So Dexter knows, oh, well, this group can bite back. Yes, they can. Because you're around a bunch of people like you. So anyway, after that, the food is served. They sit down. As they're eating, Peter Dinklage is like, all right, so let's get on with the show. So Neil Patrick Harris's character gets up. The lights dim, and he does this presentation, and he's talking about how much he's moved by tattoo artwork, and he's found this girl online, and he's been watching her, and she's making the perfect piece, and he's like, before I leave town, she will be mine. So Dexter, of course, is watching this, and he's like, you don't roll to the top of my list, sir. And his character's name is Lowell. So they're like, great work, Lowell. So Peter Dinklage, with his creepy Leon Prater ass, he looks over at Dexter, and he's like, so Ronald, the advance money that I sent you with the tokens, that's encouragement for you to do a show and tell. Obviously not today, but for when the next time you come. So of course, Dexter's like, in his head, like, what? Show and tell? Like, I gotta show and tell how I kill these people? Like, what? So, of course, is Dexter's asking this. He says to Peter Dinklage, he's like, there will be more of these, talking about these dinners. And Peter Dinklage says, yes, there will be lots more. We have so much planned in the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks. So anyway, next scene, we're with Harrison. Now, before all of this, remember that dude that Harrison killed, that creepy hotel guest, the guy had asked him to get his watch fixed, right? So he gets a call from the watch company at the beginning of this episode telling him that the watch is ready. And he's like, okay, all right. The lady goes, well, just let us know the guest name. We'll deliver it to the hotel. So, Harrison's like, I'll just come pick it up. Just give me the address. I'll pick it up. So in this scene, he's carrying the watch. Here's what's funny too. This reminded me so much of the Telltale Heart, because at one point he tries to hide. This is after this scene, but he tries to hide the watch and he can still hear the clicking. If you've ever read Edgar Allan Poe's Telltale Heart, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and you may get the reference. Anyway, so he's holding this watch, walking through the lobby of the hotel, and who does he run into but Batista himself? So Batista's ass is like, Harrison. And of course, he doesn't know who he is. He's like, I used to work with your dad in Miami. So they start chatting. Harrison's like, oh, okay. So he's like, yeah, I'm here because just checking up on a few things. And so Harrison doesn't know that Dexter is dead, or alive. So Harrison makes a comment about his dad being dead, and Batista goes, yeah, I wanted to come up here to check up on a few things, and I heard you were up here. So Batista is playing along. He's not letting him know that his father is alive. So he starts talking about the Bay Harbor Butcher shit. He says, when you were up there with your dad, what happened? And Harrison's like, I went up there to, see him and get the dad that I never had, but he's not the dad that I needed. He makes a little comment like that, and Batista's like, so Batista mentions the Bay Harbor Butcher, and of course Harrison's like, oh my God, because he knows that's who his dad is. And he's like, did your dad ever mention anything to you? And Harrison's like, no. So Harrison immediately is like, I gotta go. I'm leaving. Batista picks up on the fact that Harrison is on to him a little bit. So maybe not all the way, but he knows that Harrison knows that something ain't right. So Harrison gets up, he walks, nice to see you, gotta go, basically. Batista kind of walks after him, gives him his card, if you ever want to talk, anything, that whole spiel. No, I'm good, thank you, walks away. So Harrison's friend, the girl that works at the hotel, the one that he kind of likes a little bit, who's been covering from him a little bit, she sees them talking, sees the whole car thing, and assumes he's a cop. So she sees Harrison, walks away. Her ass walks over to Batista and is like, listen, I don't know why you guys won't leave Harrison alone. He had nothing to do with that murder in such and such room. Batista's like, murder? What? I was sitting on this couch screaming my head off like, oh my God! I love this. We're only on episode 4 and the stakes are high. So of course now Batista's like, we already know Batista's like father, like son. That would be me. That would definitely be me. Like father, like son. And of course Harrison has no clue. It's just, this season is, this episode, just this, it's written so damn well. Okay, so we're back at Mr. Prater's house, Peter Dinklage. And they're all getting ready to leave. But before they leave, they're kind of still chatting a little bit. And Dexter's over there with Lady Vengeance, the chick that I'm pretty sure he's going to bang. He's like, what is all this? And she's like, we'll talk tomorrow, not here. So they all get ready to leave. Uma Thurman's character, Charlie, gives everybody cell phones. And she's like, this is so you guys can keep in touch for the next 2 weeks. Dude from Modern Family's character is like, yeah, maybe we all can see some sightseeing while we're here. Because a lot of them are not from New York. They're just visiting out of town for this 2-week affair that we still really don't know what's going on. So they all leave. They say their goodbyes. Lady Vengeance tells Dexter, I'll see you tomorrow. Dexter is the last to leave. He thanks Leon Prater, Peter Dinklage's character. He's like, I thank you for all this. I didn't know I needed this. And, it's great that I'm able to share. Peter Dinklage is like, it's great that you're able to share and get your story out, and I'm really looking forward to your show and tell. And, of course, Dexter is nervous about that. He's like, what is this, what exactly am I supposed to do? And he's like, just show us, show us what you do. Show us your method. That sort of thing. So anyway, after that, we go back to Harrison. Harrison and this damn watch. The whole telltale heart scene, him hiding the watch in the room. Everywhere he hit it, he could hear it clicking. It was eating at him. So the next day, the chick sends Dexter a text about meeting up in Central Park. Of course, Dexter is having conversations with his dad in the car, because Harry's like, why are you doing this? And it was funny in the scene before that when he was at the dinner party with the other killers. I fell out. Harry was like, is it me or does this seem like a boogeyman convention? Yes, Harry, it is. So at the same time that he's texting old girl to go meet up, he's sitting there stalking Neil Patrick Harris's character. Because, Neil Patrick Harris, Lowell, made it very clear that he was going to get that girl once she was done with her little tattoo session. He was going to get her and get that tattoo. So he meets up with homegirl in the park, kind of learns her origin story of how she became what she became. They both talk about having the urges and how she decided to do ballet because she felt like the harshness of learning ballet would help with her urges. It didn't. She ends up killing some dude kind of by accident. I think she said, but was it by accident? And of course, that's what sparked the urge and, her whole thing of why she's taking out guys like that. So, she's a mess. And of course, Dexter finds this shit attractive. And I understand he can be himself. And that's always been his problem. Any season with Dexter, with a woman that he can be himself with, it's always an issue. It's an issue even if he can't. So, she's like, why don't we go back to my place? We can eat and blah, 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 whatever. So they get back to her place, and it's obvious that she obviously has an attraction to him too. They're continuing to talk, and she's like, well, I'm going to go take a shower if you just want to wait here. Clearly that was an invitation. She goes and takes a shower. Harry appears, and Harry's like, this is not good. You need to leave. Do not go there. Do not get in that shower with that lady. So he goes to the door, and of course she's undressing because she wants him to come in with her. She gets in the shower, and he basically is like, something came up, I have to leave, and he leaves. Good move, Dexter. But we all know Dexter. He gonna tap that ass sooner or later. Dexter always gets the girl. So he leaves. So the next scene, we go back to Batista's snooping ass. Batista ends up finding out who's heading the investigation over the murder at the hotel where Harrison works. He walks over, introduces himself to the woman, Detective Wallace, says he's Batista, and we had a serial killer in Miami with the same MO as the death here in the hotel. Can we talk? So that's not good. That's not good at all. So anyway, Dexter is hunting Mr. Lowell. It's the same day. This is all the same day. He even makes a comment in his voiceover about maybe being too tired. So he meets up with Lowell at some bar. They meet up. They're chatting for a second. And then we smash cut to Mr. Neil Patrick Harris, a.k.a. Lowell, a.k.a. Tattoo Killer, is laid out on Mr. Dexter Morgan's table at the tattoo parlor. So dude wakes up. He's obviously confused. Dexter goes through his whole rigmarole, shows him his victims. And what's funny is, of course, because he's also a serial killer, he doesn't do the whole pleading for his life thing. It was kind of funny. He's like, well, I've seen it so many times. So he's like, And he's like, you know, he basically reminds Dexter, because he still thinks he's Ronald Schmidt at this point, that, you know, you're not supposed to be doing this. You know, they're going to come for you. So this is, of course, the moment where Dexter takes the opportunity to remind Mr. Lowell that he's like, I'm not Ronald Schmidt. I'm the Bay Harbor Butcher. Neil Patrick Harris goes, oh, fuck. And then that's when he kills him. Boop! Right in the heart. Gets his ass. So he disposes of him. He cuts him up, does the whole thing. He's driving to the incinerator. Harry and him are having a conversation. This was a great scene because Harry's like, listen, you're here in New York to do something. You're already diverting. This group, you have to get rid of these people. Stop trying to be friends with them. And you need to be here because your son needs you. Your son is mixed up in some stuff. You're now mixed up in some stuff. Your son freaking needs you. So the scene after that, Harrison is at work. He gets confronted by the valet driver guy who he had sold the truck to. Dude's like, listen, what's going on with the car that you sold me? A cop showed up at my house talking to me about this. You need to handle this. And Harrison's like, what? He goes, well, he's right over there. You can handle it with him. Dude walks away. Batista's behind him. Walks up to him. Harrison's like, I know you're not here to bring up more fuzzy memories from Miami. So they end up sitting down at a diner. And Batista is like, listen, I know your dad told you some things. I need you to tell me what's going on. Harrison is sticking to the lie. I don't know what you're talking about. I told you he didn't tell me a whole lot. He wasn't that great of a father figure to me. Batista's like, I know that something's going on. And what is the coincidence that we never caught the Bay Harbor butcher in Miami, and then someone happens to die in the exact same way in the hotel where I think the Bay Harbor butcher's son might be? It's a hell of a coincidence. So after that, I don't know. I think it's the next day. It might have been nighttime, but I'm going to say the next day. Harrison is feeling the guilt times 10. So he pulls out Detective Wallace, that woman's detective card. He calls her because he's like, fuck it. I'm going to, in his head, I'm going to confess all this shit. So he goes to call her. She doesn't answer the phone. It goes to voicemail. He doesn't leave a voicemail. He hangs up. So we see him walk. We realize he's standing in front of the New York Police Department, at least that precinct's building. He's going to walk in. Dexter stops him. Harrison, wait. Homeboy turns around, horrified. There's his dad. That was the end of the episode. We are 4 episodes deep, and so much has happened. I'm loving it. They definitely left us hanging. So now we got to see Dexter grovel for his son. Explain that away. You got to explain all that shit. Plus, you got to help Harrison get out of this situation. Dexter, you gonna learn Batista's on your ass, and now you got a whole group of serial killer club to take care of. And something tells me the final boss, Peter Dinklage, Leon Prater, is gonna be a real issue. And that's if Charlie, aka Uma Thurman's character, doesn't figure out that your ass ain't Ronald Schmidt. Anyway, Dexter Resurrection episode 4 was amazing this week. Can't wait for Friday. Sorry my review was late. Had a lot of shit going on. Anyway, stay hydrated. Be nice to each other. And I'm going to get out of here to go return these videotapes.